Good afternoon and welcome to the Judiciary and License Committee meeting of August 6th, 2024. We've called the meeting to order and we'll ask for citizen comments. I don't see any citizens out there wishing to speak tonight. So we'll move on to the approval of July 16, 2024 minutes. We have a motion from Bureau, second by
Yes.
Second by Mr. Yes. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 4 is the discussion of the disallowance of claim for Marshall Lehman. Can you bring us up to speed on what that's all about?
Yes, you had in your packet a memo from Statewide Services, one of our insurance carriers, outlining why they were choosing to disallow this claim. What I'd be looking for from you this evening is a motion to disallow the claim of Marshall Lehman pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 893.80. This is the standard procedure. It just accelerates the time frame for which the individual has time to make a claim.
So moved.
Moved by Varsho, second by? Second by Rebecca. Discussion? No discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And number 5, update on April 18, 2024 compliance checks with consideration at request of police chief for determining the demerit points pursuant to municipal code 9-34 sub 3 sub C. Chief, that's yours.
Thank you. On April 18th, we did conduct another compliance check. During that time, out of the 42 establishments in our city, unfortunately, 3 had failed that compliance check. One of those 3 is Hop and Grape. And unfortunately, they also failed a compliance test on December 8th, was found guilty on January 10th of 2024. And then this compliance check on April 18th, they were also cited for that and found guilty on June 26th. I'm requesting that we assess 75 points. That's below the 100 where we would consider revoking their license. However, I would leave that up to this body.
Okay, now, let me get this straight. They've, within 1 year, this is winter time frame of 1 year.
Right.
And they've had 3 violations at that time.
They've had two.
Two?
Yep.
Okay, so what, you're charging under what, under C3? I'm looking at it and it says that, okay, it says 24 points for the first violation, first offense. And then number 2 is, if there's a second one, it's 50 demerit points for the second and third subsequent means. So you're putting 75?
Be 75, 25 for the first, 50
for
the second. Correct.
Okay.
All on statute 125.
Okay. And Rebecca?
Were these violations because the server didn't card somebody?
Correct.
Both
It's
times.
sold to minors.
And the server also was cited, their actual personal?
Yep, both servers were cited. I don't know if it's different people, but they were found guilty. Both have been gone through the court process.
And you can't tell me if the server was the same person both times?
The server was not the same person.
Okay, thank
It was
you.
2 different people, and the establishment was not issued a ticket.
Correct.
Only the servers were issued the violation, the
Okay.
ticket.
Okay, so the 75 points is one to assess.
Correct.
Or if we assess it, right?
Yeah, so
Is there any further, any extenuating circumstances or?
no.
Okay, so it's up to you guys. What do you want to do?
I'm good with moving to assess them the 75 points.
Okay, we have a motion and is there a second?
Second.
Second by Rebecca. Discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's it. It passed. Okay, and discuss 2025 fee schedule as it relates to business licensing. Who's got that?
Yep, I'll take that. So in your packet, I provided a list of what our current fee fees look like for licensing specifically. Usually September, October or so, the fee schedule will come forward to the finance budget personnel. I just wanted to get a jump start on the business licensing so I know what direction you would like me to go. I provided what we currently assess, and then I also provided a brief comparison from some of the licensing for Stevens Point, Wisconsin Rapids, and Wausau. You'll notice that my spreadsheet has a lot of holes. A lot of these license without filing an application. I don't see all of the fees, so I can definitely do a lot more research on that if that's what you would like me to do. I guess I just was looking for a starting point just generally on licensing fees. And then I also wanted to draw your attention to the circuses and amusement section of the license fees. It was previously $2 for a daily license, $15 for an annual license. And with the changes to Chapter 9 just a couple of months ago, I made some revisions to Chapter 9 that you adopted and approved. Essentially, we have two vendors that this ever falls under. There's the fair vendor who comes with all of the rides, and they, in the past, have been charged $2 per day per apparatus that they bring. So whether that's a ride, whether that's their food booths or their games, those all fell under the previous ordinance that they would charge that. Additionally, the electrical inspector has a fee for electrifying all of that and doing all of his inspections. And working with him, when I revised that ordinance, I took that out and said that if the individual was being licensed by the electrical inspector, that there was really no need for us to charge an additional fee. Seemed a little bit redundant when they were doing all of the work. The only other person that ever falls under this is the circus. There's a circus that comes to town every couple of years and they bring a couple of animals and they fall under this. So I just wasn't sure if you wanted me to keep those charges in there, if you wanted to revisit how we set up the Chapter 9. It wasn't really until I pulled up the fee schedule that I realized that the Chapter 9 changes impacted that specific section. So I'm open to whatever discussion you might have and whatever direction you want me to go with comparisons and fees.
Just out of curiosity, is there an increase in the fees being recommended as you're pulling them up right now?
I think that some of our fees definitely have some room to increase. But again, I would like some direction from you where you want me to be doing that. I don't feel it's my position as the clerk to be deciding what we should charge our businesses. One of the areas that really sticks out to me is food licensing and food trucks. We are significantly less, especially on the food trucks, than the surrounding municipalities. I've been speaking with our fire chief and his staff they are working on a tri-city inspection license. They're working with Wisconsin Rapids and Stevens Point on how they might share that inspection service. So about a year ago, when we were looking at this, we thought we would add that fire inspection fee onto our food truck fee, and then some of that money would be allocated their way. If they're going to work with the other municipalities, they would be collecting their own fee. Do we feel like that's enough? Do we want to increase our food truck license, knowing they still have to do the fire inspection? I don't necessarily have any other huge recommendations on areas that jump out. Some of these are mandated by the state at what we should charge or what our maximum should be. Maybe the operator, the temporary bartender license is $2. It's a lot of staff work for $2. My hesitation is these are volunteer bartenders who are working at the fair or Hub City Days or Dairy Fest. Do we really want to charge them additional for volunteering? Again, your discretion and however you tell me to go.
Discussion? Rebecca, go ahead.
All right, so I just have a couple questions first. When I went through this list, and I don't know why I don't know this answer, but on your chart that you put together, what is transient, 2-day transient, 2-4 transient, 6-month transient, annual? What is that for?
Those are the merchants that come into town for a short period of time. They do not have a brick and mortar business established in the city of Marshfield, and they are traveling through. These are the seafood trucks that you'll see set up in a parking lot selling frozen seafood. These are the citrus vendors that come through and sell just their fruit out of the back of the truck. These are the people that go door to door trying to sell upgrades to your roof or bathroom remodels or whatever else they might be selling door to door. State does say that we should license those. And it is a pretty steep license fee for the simple sake that these are temporary vendors coming in. They have no other money they are paying to the city. It doesn't matter if they come in and sell $5 worth of product or $50,000 worth of product. The city does not see any money from that aside from their license fee.
Gotcha.
They are also required to provide a surety bond. They have to be
Gotcha.
bonded and insured before they go door to door.
And then what is right above that operator, 2-year, 1-year, provisional, temporary?
Those are the bartenders.
Bartenders, okay. And then I'm just curious, I see this is set by state, but why would a pawn breaker's fee be so much higher than a secondhand jewelry, secondhand article fee? Aren't they essentially sort of the same?
You'll usually actually see these, a combination. You'll see people have all three of these licenses under one roof. I think the pawnbroker is higher because there's actually a database that is maintained by the state that they have to report what they're selling, who they're selling it to, what sort of consignment they're taking off of those items.
Who has to do that, all of them?
All of them, all the pawnbrokers, not the secondhand jewelry or secondhand.
Okay,
So a secondhand article dealer might be your antique shop that, purchased grandma's dresser and refurbished it and sold it.
so what's the difference, I mean, what would be the difference between that and a pawnbroker? Like, I feel like pawnbroker, what's the difference? They can take like weapons, guns?
Right.
Is this making the difference?
And they can purchase your items from you and
Okay.
pay you for your items directly, whereas, a secondhand article dealer is probably more your flea market that's just selling
Gotcha.
those used items.
Okay, and then, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions, but payday lender, what's that about?
I've left this on here. It is not anything we have issued in the time that I've worked here, but this is one of them that's part of state. So your payday cash into loan types of places do a one-time license when they set up.
All right, I'd like to see that one go up, even though we haven't used it by at least double,
Okay.
maybe more. What about, what is the junkyard? I mean, I know what a junkyard is, but
Right. And it's the scrap yards. There are just 2 or 3 in the city of Marshfield. Most of these are auto salvage places.
Okay. And then what is the hotel motel doing on there?
That is a way for us to just capture the information of the hotel motel owners. That is a one-time license fee. They pay it once when they purchase the hotel or motel. And we use that as a way of capturing that information so we can generate their room tax. Finance uses that information.
That seems sort of low. I mean, I can't imagine you're doing this work for $10. So I think I need to understand the amount of work that goes into issuing and looking in background, all this kind of stuff. Because I mean, $10, that's.
Would it be helpful if I provide on the list which ones we do a background check for versus which ones we just process and enter them in the system?
I mean, I think so. I feel like things that you're putting a considerable amount of time and work behind shouldn't be $2. $2.
That's hardly enough.
Or $10. And I know times are tough. I mean, I'm not a big fee type of person, but we have to capture at least the amount of money
Well,
in work that we're putting out.
You hit on something about, you wanted to know what kind of work and what staff time it takes to process these things and that. And the statutes have I'm trying to remember exactly what chapter it is. In the statutes, it says that when we do get around to levying a fee, that we're licensed, that we're authorized to do under the licensing laws, that it has to bear some resemblance for the work that was put in, the cost of the municipality putting it in. So maybe we should ask to get those at our next meeting.
Sure.
And I agree with Rebecca in that case, but are you okay on this?
Just let me ask you a question for the temporary server license. So I was asked,
Yeah.
being on the fair board before, I was asked to be a bartender. I bartended for 15 years, but I don't have my license anymore. If they just have one and have like 6 bartenders, do they all need one or just one for the event?
You need to have one bartender in the proximity of the sales at all times.
Right.
So you might have 4 bartenders working a shift, only one has to have that temporary
that.
license. And if you happen to have one person who works at a bar and has the full bartender license,
You don't
again,
need,
as long as they are present and visible,
you don't need one. You don't need a
Correct.
temporary one.
right? And that's where you see the difference between the operator and the temporary. The temporary doesn't go through background check. The regular operators do go through a background check.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Mm,
If not, then we'll be looking forward to seeing it on the next agenda, okay? And with that, we have items for future agendas, that's one of them. Anybody have anything else?
I got nothing.
Okay, that being the case, we will declare this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.